The grieving widow opened her door to a stray cat, but when it changed her life, the late afternoon sun cast long shadows across Mrs. Eleanor Winter's tidy living room, illuminating dust motes dancing in the golden light. Eleanor, a woman whose silver hair mirrored the twilight of her years, sat curled in her favorite armchair, a well-worn copy of Pride and Prejudice resting in her lap. Her gaze, however, was not on the witty banter of Austen's characters, but on the curious sight unfolding beyond her window. A marmalade cat, with fur the color of burnt orange and eyes like polished amber, sat perched on the narrow ledge outside, staring intently at her with an almost unnerving focus. It was a stray, she assumed, one of the many that roamed the quiet streets of her suburban neighborhood. Yet, there was something in its unwavering gaze, a pleading almost, that tugged at her heartstrings. The cat, as if sensing her attention, let out a soft meow, a sound that was less a demand and more a gentle request. Eleanor, a lifelong lover of animals, couldn't resist its charm. She rose from her chair, her joints protesting with a symphony of pops and creaks, and approached the window. As she drew closer, the cat rose on its hind legs, its front paws resting against the glass. As if trying to reach her, it rubbed its head against the pane, leaving a smudge of orange fur in its wake. Eleanor chuckled, a sound that echoed with a hint of loneliness in the quiet house. "Well, aren't you a friendly fellow?" she murmured, sliding the window open a crack. The cat, emboldened by her gesture, pushed its head through the opening, inhaling deeply with a soft purr rumbling in its chest. Eleanor, cautiously at first, extended a hand, her fingers gently stroking the cat's head. The fur was surprisingly soft, like velvet beneath her touch. The cat leaned into her caress, its purr growing louder, vibrating against her palm. From that day forward, the marmalade cat became a regular visitor, appearing at her window each afternoon like clockwork. Eleanor, initially hesitant to encourage the stray, found herself looking forward to its visits. It was a welcome distraction from the quiet monotony of her days, a reminder that life, even in its later years, could still hold surprises. One sunny afternoon, as Eleanor sat on her porch enjoying a cup of tea, the cat appeared, not at the window this time, but on the lawn. It rolled around in the grass, its belly exposed in a display of playful abandon. Eleanor, her heart warming at the sight, couldn't help but laugh. "Are you trying to charm your way into my good graces?" she asked, setting her teacup down. The cat, as if in response, sprang to its feet and trotted towards her, rubbing against her legs with an insistent purr. Eleanor, convinced that the cat must belong to someone, began asking her neighbors if they recognized it. To her surprise, no one claimed ownership. It seemed the friendly feline was indeed a stray, a wanderer who had chosen her window as its beacon. One evening, as a storm raged outside, Eleanor found the cat huddled beneath a bush, its fur plastered to its body, shivering uncontrollably. Pity welled up in her heart. She couldn't leave the poor creature to the mercy of the elements. Opening the door, she beckoned the cat inside. Hesitantly at first, it crept across the threshold, its eyes wide with a mixture of fear and gratitude. Eleanor, leading it to the warmth of the fireplace, watched as it curled up on a rug, its body finally relaxing. That night, the cat slept soundly, the storm raging outside a distant echo. Eleanor, watching it from her armchair, felt a stirring in her heart, a sense of companionship she hadn't felt since her husband passed away years ago. The next morning, the cat, as if claiming its newfound territory, rubbed against her legs as she prepared breakfast. It followed her from room to room, its purrs a constant soundtrack to her day. Eleanor, amused by its antics, decided to name it Liam. Liam, it turned out, was not just a friendly cat. He was a cuddle enthusiast. He would leap onto her lap while she read, his weight a comforting presence on her knees. He would demand chin scratches with an insistent nudge of his head, his purrs vibrating against her hand. He would even follow her into the garden, weaving between her legs as she tended to her roses. Eleanor, initially hesitant to form an attachment to a stray cat, found herself falling deeply in love with Liam. He had filled a void in her life, a void she hadn't realized existed. He was her companion, her confidant, her furry soulmate. Their days fell into a comfortable routine. Mornings were spent with Liam curled up on the foot of her bed, his soft purrs a gentle alarm clock. Afternoons were for exploring the garden together, Liam chasing butterflies while Eleanor pruned her roses. Evenings were spent by the fireplace, Liam nestled in her lap as she read or watched television. One day, while browsing the internet, Eleanor stumbled upon a website for a local animal shelter. A photo of a litter of kittens, their eyes wide and pleading, caught her attention. A wave of compassion washed over her. She had the space, the time, and the love to give. Perhaps fostering kittens would be a way to give back, to share the joy Liam had brought into her life. She contacted the shelter and, after a brief screening process, welcomed 3 tiny kittens into her home. Liam, initially wary of the new arrivals, soon warmed up to them. He would watch them with a curious gaze, his tail twitching with amusement as they tumbled over each other in their play. To Eleanor's surprise, Liam proved to be an exceptional foster dad. He would groom the kittens, his rough tongue gently cleaning their fur. He would cuddle with them, his large body providing warmth and comfort. He would even play with them, his playful swats gentle and encouraging. The kittens, in turn, adored Liam. They would follow him around the house, their tiny paws pattering against the hardwood floor. They would climb on him, their sharp claws finding purchase in his thick fur. They would even try to nurse on him, their tiny mouths kneading his belly in search of milk. Eleanor watched this unlikely family with a heart full of joy. Liam, the once lonely stray, had found a home and a purpose. He was not just a pet, he was a caregiver, a protector, a source of love and comfort for these vulnerable creatures. As the weeks passed, the kittens grew bigger and stronger, their personalities blossoming under Liam's watchful eye. They became more confident, more playful, more adventurous. Liam, in turn, seemed to regain some of his own youthful energy. He would chase the kittens around the house, his tail held high, his eyes sparkling with mischief. Eleanor realized that Liam had not only brought joy into her life, but he had also helped her rediscover her own capacity for love and compassion. He had shown her that even in the quiet solitude of her later years, life could still be filled with purpose and meaning. When the time came for the kittens to be adopted, Eleanor felt a pang of sadness, but she knew it was for the best. They had found loving homes, just as Liam had found his with her. As she waved goodbye to the last of the kittens, Liam rubbed against her legs, his purr a comforting rumble against her hand. She looked down at him, her heart overflowing with gratitude. "Thank you, Liam," she whispered, scooping him into her arms. "Thank you for choosing me." Liam, nestled in her embrace, purred louder, his amber eyes shining with love and contentment. He had found his home, his family, his purpose, and Eleanor, in turn, had found hers. Life with Liam settled into a comfortable rhythm. Eleanor, no longer waking to the silence of an empty house, found her mornings filled with the comforting sounds of Liam's purrs and the gentle thud of his paws as he jumped off the bed. Days were spent tending to her garden, Liam a constant shadow, weaving between her legs as she weeded her flower beds. Evenings were for quiet companionship, Liam curled up on her lap as she read or watched television. One crisp autumn afternoon, as Eleanor and Liam were enjoying their usual stroll through the neighborhood, they encountered a group of children playing in a yard. The children, spotting Liam, squealed with delight and rushed towards him, their small hands reaching out to pet him. Liam, normally wary of strangers, seemed to sense their innocent enthusiasm. He allowed them to pet him, his purrs rumbling like a miniature engine. Eleanor, watching the scene unfold, felt a warmth spread through her chest. It was heartwarming to see Liam, the once timid stray, so readily accepting of affection. As the children continued their play, one of them, a little girl with bright red hair and freckles sprinkled across her nose, approached Eleanor. "He's so cute," she exclaimed, her eyes shining with admiration. "What's his name?" "His name is Liam," Eleanor replied, a smile gracing her lips. "Liam," the little girl repeated, savoring the name. "He's the nicest cat I've ever met," Eleanor chuckled. "He is quite special," she agreed. The little girl, her curiosity piqued, began asking Eleanor questions about Liam. Where did she find him? How long had she had him? What was his favorite food? Eleanor, happy to indulge the child's inquisitiveness, answered her questions patiently. As the afternoon wore on, the children's parents began calling them in for dinner. The little girl, with a lingering glance at Liam, bid Eleanor farewell. "I wish I had a cat like Liam," she sighed, her voice filled with longing. Eleanor, touched by the girl's wistful tone, felt a surge of empathy. She remembered her own childhood, filled with the companionship of beloved pets. She knew the joy and comfort that animals could bring, especially to a child. An idea began to form in her mind, a seed planted by the little girl's innocent wish. Perhaps fostering kittens, providing a temporary home for those in need, would be a way to share the love and companionship that Liam had brought into her life. The next day, Eleanor contacted the local animal shelter. She explained her situation, her desire to foster kittens, and her experience with Liam. The shelter staff, delighted by her offer, scheduled a home visit to assess her suitability. A few days later, a young woman from the shelter arrived at Eleanor's doorstep. She was impressed by Eleanor's cozy home and Liam's friendly demeanor. She explained the fostering process, the responsibilities involved, and the challenges that might arise. Eleanor listened attentively, her heart filled with anticipation. She was ready for this new adventure, ready to open her home and her heart to those in need. The following week, Eleanor welcomed her first foster kittens, 2 tiny balls of fluff, a tabby and a calico. They were barely weaned, their eyes still closed, their meows barely audible. Eleanor, her maternal instincts kicking in, prepared a warm nest for them in a spare bedroom. Liam, initially wary of the new arrivals, observed them from a safe distance. He sniffed the air cautiously, his ears twitching as he processed the unfamiliar scents. Eleanor, sensing his hesitation, gently encouraged him to approach. "They're just babies, Liam," she reassured him, her voice soft and soothing. "They need our help." Liam, as if understanding her words, slowly approached the kittens. He sniffed them gently, his whiskers brushing against their soft fur. The kittens, sensing his presence, instinctively nuzzled against him, seeking warmth and comfort. Eleanor watched this tender scene unfold, her heart swelling with emotion. Liam, the once lonely stray, was now a protector, a caregiver, a source of comfort for these vulnerable creatures. Over the next few weeks, Eleanor devoted herself to caring for the kittens. She bottle-fed them every few hours, cleaned their tiny bodies, and provided them with a safe and nurturing environment. Liam, ever the watchful guardian, kept a close eye on them, his presence a comforting reassurance. As the kittens grew stronger, their eyes opened, revealing the world in all its wonder. They began to explore their surroundings, their tiny paws pattering across the floor, their playful meows filling the house with life. Liam, initially hesitant to engage with the kittens, gradually warmed up to them. He would watch their antics with amusement, his tail twitching as they tumbled over each other in their play. He would even groom them, his rough tongue gently cleaning their fur. Eleanor, observing this unlikely family, felt a sense of fulfillment she hadn't experienced in years. She had found a purpose, a way to give back, a way to share the love and companionship that Liam had brought into her life. The kittens, in turn, thrived under Eleanor's care and Liam's watchful eye. They grew bigger, stronger, and more confident. Their personalities began to emerge, each one unique and endearing. The tabby, named Oliver, was the adventurous one, always exploring new territory, always getting into mischief. The calico, named Clementine, was the more reserved one, content to cuddle and purr, her soft fur a comforting presence. Eleanor, watching them grow and develop, felt a pang of sadness knowing that they would eventually be adopted, that their time with her was temporary. But she also knew that she was providing them with a safe haven, a loving start to their lives, and that was a gift in itself. As the weeks turned into months, the kittens blossomed under Eleanor's care. They were healthy, happy, and ready for their forever homes. Eleanor, though heartbroken to see them go, knew it was time. The day the kittens were adopted, Eleanor felt a mix of emotions. Sadness at their departure, but also joy knowing they were going to loving families. Liam, too, seemed to sense the change, his demeanor more subdued than usual. As the last of the kittens was carried out the door, Eleanor knelt down and wrapped her arms around Liam. "Thank you," she whispered, burying her face in his fur. "Thank you for helping me care for them." Liam, in response, purred louder, his warmth and affection a comforting balm to her sadness. He had been her partner in this journey, her furry confidant, her constant source of support. Eleanor, looking into Liam's amber eyes, knew that their bond was stronger than ever. They had shared an experience, a journey of love and compassion that had enriched both their lives. And as she looked towards the future, she knew that with Liam by her side, she would never be truly alone. The quiet returned to Eleanor's house, but it was a different kind of quiet now. It wasn't the hollow, echoing silence of loneliness, but a peaceful stillness, filled with the soft cadence of Liam's purrs and the gentle rhythm of their shared routine. Yet, even in this newfound contentment, a shadow lingered at the edges of Eleanor's thoughts. The experience of fostering the kittens had stirred something deep within her, awakening memories she had long kept buried. Memories of a time when her life was filled with the joyful chaos of children's laughter and the pitter-patter of tiny feet. Eleanor, a woman who had always embraced life with open arms, had faced her share of sorrows. The loss of her beloved husband, Thomas, had been a blow that nearly shattered her. But it was the loss of their only child, a daughter named Lily, that had truly broken her heart. Lily, a vibrant spirit with her father's mischievous grin and her mother's kind eyes, had been taken too soon, a victim of a tragic accident that had left Eleanor and Thomas reeling. The pain of her loss had been unbearable, a wound that refused to heal. In the years that followed, Eleanor had retreated into herself, her grief a heavy cloak that she wore like a shield. She had closed herself off from the world, her once vibrant spirit dimmed by the weight of her sorrow. But Liam, with his gentle purrs and insistent cuddles, had chipped away at her defenses, reminding her of the simple joys of life, the healing power of companionship. And the kittens, with their playful antics and unconditional love, had rekindled a spark within her, a flicker of hope that had long been dormant. One evening, as Eleanor sat by the fireplace, Liam curled up on her lap. She found herself reaching for a dusty photo album. It was filled with pictures of Lily, capturing her infectious laughter, her boundless energy, her love for all living creatures. As Eleanor turned the pages, memories flooded back, vivid and bittersweet. She remembered Lily's fascination with butterflies, her insistence on rescuing every stray animal she encountered, her infectious laughter that filled their home with joy. Tears welled up in Eleanor's eyes, but they were not tears of despair. They were tears of remembrance, of gratitude for the precious gift of Lily's life, however brief. Liam, sensing her sadness, nuzzled his head against her hand, his purrs a gentle comfort. Eleanor, stroking his soft fur, felt a wave of peace wash over her. Lily might be gone, but her memory lived on, not just in photographs and memories, but in the kindness and compassion that Eleanor now extended to others. The next day, Eleanor decided to visit the local cemetery. It had been years since she had last stood before Lily's grave, the pain too raw, the memories too painful. But now, with Liam by her side, she felt a newfound strength, a sense of peace she hadn't known in years. As she stood before Lily's headstone, the inscription etched in granite a stark reminder of her loss, Eleanor felt a familiar ache in her heart. But this time, The pain was tempered by a sense of acceptance, a recognition that grief was a part of life, a testament to the depth of love she had felt for her daughter. Liam, sensing her somber mood, sat quietly by her side, his presence a silent comfort. Eleanor, reaching down to stroke his fur, felt a wave of gratitude for his unwavering companionship. As she left the cemetery, Eleanor felt a sense of closure, a release from the heavy burden of grief she had carried for so long. Lily would always be a part of her, a cherished memory that would forever shape her life. But now, with Liam by her side, she was ready to embrace the future, to open her heart to new possibilities, to live a life filled with purpose and meaning. The following day, Eleanor decided to volunteer at the local animal shelter. She wanted to give back, to share the love and compassion that Liam had brought into her life. She wanted to make a difference, however small, in the lives of animals in need. At the shelter, Eleanor was welcomed with open arms. Her experience with Liam and the foster kittens made her a valuable asset. She was assigned to the cat room, where she helped clean cages, feed the animals, and socialize them. Eleanor found immense satisfaction in her work. She loved spending time with the cats, each one with its own unique personality and story. She would read to them, play with them, and offer them comfort and reassurance. Liam, who often accompanied her to the shelter, became a favorite among the staff and volunteers. His gentle nature and affectionate demeanor made him a perfect therapy cat, offering comfort to those who were feeling stressed or overwhelmed. One day, while working at the shelter, Eleanor encountered a young woman who was struggling to find a home for her elderly cat. The woman, her eyes filled with tears, explained that she was moving into an assisted living facility that did not allow pets. Eleanor, her heart going out to the woman and her cat, offered to foster the animal until a permanent home could be found. The woman, overwhelmed with gratitude, readily accepted Eleanor's offer. The next day, Eleanor welcomed the elderly cat, a ginger tabby named Rusty, into her home. Rusty, though initially hesitant in his new surroundings, soon settled in, his purrs a testament to his contentment. Liam, ever the gracious host, welcomed Rusty with open paws. The two cats, despite their age difference, formed an unlikely friendship, their shared love of naps and cuddles creating a bond that transcended their individual histories. Eleanor, watching their companionship, felt a sense of warmth spread through her. She had created a haven, a sanctuary for those in need, a place where love and compassion reigned supreme. And in doing so, she had found her own healing, her own redemption. With Rusty as a new resident, Eleanor's home felt fuller, richer. The gentle rhythm of their days was punctuated by the counterpoint of Liam's playful energy and Rusty's more sedate presence. Liam, ever the youthful spirit, would often entice Rusty into games of chase, their paws tapping lightly on the hardwood floors, their playful growls echoing through the house. Rusty, in turn, would groom Liam with meticulous care, his rough tongue smoothing down Liam's unruly fur. Eleanor, watching their interactions, marveled at the resilience of the animal spirit, their ability to adapt, to find comfort and companionship even in the face of change. She saw in them a reflection of her own journey, her own gradual emergence from the shadows of grief. One sunny afternoon, while Eleanor was tending to her roses, a young couple strolled by her house, their eyes drawn to Liam and Rusty basking in the sun on the porch. They paused at the gate, admiring the two cats, their faces lit with smiles. Eleanor, noticing their interest, invited them in for a chat. The couple, eager to learn more about the cats, readily accepted. They introduced themselves as Sarah and David, newlyweds who had recently moved to the neighborhood. As they chatted, Eleanor learned that Sarah and David had always wanted a pet, but their busy work schedules had prevented them from taking the plunge. However, now that they were settling into their new home, they were eager to welcome a furry companion into their lives. Eleanor, sensing their genuine love for animals, felt a surge of warmth. She told them about Rusty, his gentle nature, his love of cuddles, and his need for a loving home. Sarah and David, captivated by Rusty's story, expressed their interest in adopting him. Eleanor, though a part of her was sad to see Rusty go, knew that this was the best outcome for him. She arranged a meeting with the couple and Rusty at the animal shelter, where the adoption process could be finalized. A few days later, Sarah and David returned to Eleanor's house, their faces beaming with joy. Rusty, nestled comfortably in Sarah's arms, purred contentedly. "He's settling in wonderfully," Sarah reported, her voice filled with affection. "He loves his new home, and he's already become our best friend." Eleanor, her heart filled with happiness for Rusty, wished the couple well. As they walked away, hand in hand, Rusty glancing back with a grateful meow, Eleanor felt a sense of satisfaction, knowing that she had played a part in bringing this loving family together. The departure of Rusty left a void in Eleanor's home, but it was a void filled with warmth and gratitude. She had opened her heart and her home to those in need, and in doing so, she had found a renewed sense of purpose. Liam, sensing her contemplative mood, curled up beside her on the couch, his purrs a gentle reassurance. Eleanor, stroking his soft fur, felt a wave of love for her loyal companion. Liam had been her constant through thick and thin, her furry soulmate, her reminder that even in the darkest of times, there was always light to be found. As the days turned into weeks, Eleanor continued her volunteer work at the animal shelter, her dedication unwavering. She found solace in caring for the animals, in offering them comfort and hope. She also continued to foster kittens, providing them with a safe haven until they found their forever homes. One day, while browsing the internet, Eleanor stumbled upon an article about therapy animals. The article highlighted the benefits of animal companionship for the elderly, the sick, and the lonely. Eleanor, intrigued by the concept, began to research the topic further. She learned about the various roles that therapy animals could play, from providing emotional support to assisting with physical therapy. She also learned about the rigorous training and certification process required for both animals and their handlers. Eleanor, her interest piqued, decided to explore the possibility of training Liam as a therapy animal. She contacted a local organization that specialized in therapy animal training and inquired about their program. The organization, impressed by Eleanor's enthusiasm and Liam's gentle nature, invited them to participate in an evaluation session. During the session, Liam was assessed on his temperament, obedience, and ability to interact with people in various settings. To Eleanor's delight, Liam passed the evaluation with flying colors. He was calm and collected in the face of distractions, gentle and affectionate with strangers, and eager to please. The trainers were impressed by his natural aptitude for therapy work. Eleanor and Liam embarked on a rigorous training program, attending weekly classes and practicing diligently at home. Eleanor learned how to handle Liam in different situations, how to interpret his cues, and how to ensure his safety and well-being. Liam, ever the eager student, thrived in the training environment. He seemed to relish the attention, the challenges, and the opportunity to interact with people. He learned to respond to commands, to remain calm in crowded spaces, and to offer comfort to those in need. After several months of training, Eleanor and Liam were ready for their final evaluation. They were observed interacting with patients at a local hospital, providing comfort and companionship to those who were feeling isolated and vulnerable. Liam, with his gentle purrs and affectionate nudges, brought smiles to the faces of patients and staff alike. He seemed to have an innate ability to sense those who were in need of comfort, offering them a furry shoulder to lean on, a warm body to cuddle. Eleanor, watching Liam work his magic, felt a surge of pride. She had helped him unlock his full potential, his innate ability to heal and to comfort. And in doing so, she had found her own calling, her own way to make a difference in the world. The evaluators were impressed by Liam's performance and Eleanor's handling skills. They were awarded their therapy animal certification, a testament to their hard work and dedication. Eleanor, beaming with pride, looked at Liam, her eyes filled with gratitude. Together, they were ready to embark on a new adventure, a journey of healing and compassion, a testament to the power of love and the bond between humans and animals. With their newfound certification, Eleanor and Liam began their work as a therapy animal team. They visited hospitals, nursing homes, and schools, bringing comfort and joy to people of all ages. Liam, with his gentle demeanor and affectionate nature, was a natural at his new role. He seemed to sense those who were in need of comfort, offering a warm purr, a gentle nudge, or a soft headbutt. Eleanor, watching Liam work his magic, felt a sense of fulfillment she hadn't known in years. She had found a purpose, a way to give back to her community, a way to honor Lily's memory by spreading kindness and compassion. One of their regular visits was to a children's hospital, where Liam was a particular favorite among the young patients. He would patiently sit on their beds, allowing them to stroke his soft fur, his purrs a soothing balm to their anxieties. One day, they met a young boy named Ethan, who was undergoing treatment for leukemia. Ethan, a shy and withdrawn child, had been struggling with the side effects of his treatment, his spirits low. Liam, sensing Ethan's distress, climbed onto his bed and curled up beside him, his purrs vibrating against the boy's chest. Ethan, initially hesitant, slowly reached out to pet Liam, his small hand trembling. As Liam purred and nuzzled against him, Ethan's tense body began to relax. A smile spread across his face, the first one Eleanor had seen since his arrival. "He's so soft," Ethan whispered, his voice barely audible. "He is," Eleanor agreed, her heart warming at the sight of the boy's connection with Liam. From that day forward, Liam became Ethan's constant companion during his hospital stays. He would sit with him during treatments, offering comfort and distraction. He would play with him in the playroom, encouraging him to laugh and forget his worries. Ethan's parents were amazed by the transformation in their son. He was no longer the withdrawn and fearful child he had been. He was now engaged, playful, and filled with hope. "Liam has been a lifesaver," Ethan's mother confided in Eleanor one day. "He's given Ethan something to look forward to, something to fight for." Eleanor, touched by the woman's words, felt a surge of gratitude for Liam. He was not just a pet, he was a healer, a beacon of hope, a testament to the power of animal companionship. As Ethan's treatment progressed, his health improved, and his spirits soared. He and Liam became inseparable, their bond a testament to the healing power of love and friendship. One day, Ethan was finally discharged from the hospital, his cancer in remission. He and his parents came to say goodbye to Eleanor and Liam, their faces filled with gratitude. "Thank you for everything," Ethan's father said, shaking Eleanor's hand. "Liam has been a true blessing to our family." Ethan, his eyes shining with tears, hugged Liam tightly. "I'll miss you, buddy," he whispered. Liam, in response, licked Ethan's cheek, his purr a soft farewell. As Ethan and his family walked away, Eleanor felt a pang of sadness, but it was overshadowed by a sense of joy. She had witnessed the power of healing, the transformative power of love and compassion. And she knew that Liam, her furry partner in this journey, had played a vital role in Ethan's recovery. Eleanor and Liam continued their therapy work, their impact spreading far and wide. They touched the lives of countless individuals, bringing comfort, joy, and hope to those who needed it most. Their story became a local legend, a testament to the extraordinary bond between humans and animals. Liam, the once lonely stray, had become a symbol of hope, a furry ambassador of love and compassion. And Eleanor, the woman who had opened her heart and her home to him, had found her own redemption, her own purpose in life. Eleanor and Liam's life settled into a fulfilling routine. Their days were filled with purpose, their hearts brimming with the satisfaction of bringing joy and comfort to others. Yet, as the seasons changed and the years passed, a subtle shift began to occur, a whisper of unease that crept into Eleanor's otherwise tranquil existence. Liam, her steadfast companion, her furry soulmate, was growing older. The once boundless energy that had propelled him through their therapy visits, the playful antics that had brought laughter to so many faces, were gradually diminishing. His movements were slower, his naps more frequent, his purrs a little less robust. Eleanor, ever attuned to Liam's every nuance, noticed these changes with a growing sense of apprehension. She took him to the veterinarian for regular checkups, her heart pounding with each visit, dreading the news she feared might come. The veterinarian, a kind and compassionate woman named Dr. Emily Carter, reassured Eleanor that Liam's aging was natural, a normal part of the life cycle. She prescribed medication to manage his arthritis, supplements to boost his energy, and a special diet to support his aging body. Eleanor followed Dr. Carter's instructions meticulously, her every action driven by a desperate desire to preserve Liam's health, to hold on to him for as long as possible. She adjusted their routine to accommodate his slower pace, their therapy visits becoming less frequent, their walks shorter, their play sessions gentler. Liam, ever the adaptable soul, seemed content with these changes. He still enjoyed their visits to the hospital and nursing home, albeit in a more subdued manner. He would sit patiently on laps, his purrs a gentle rumble, his presence a calming influence. Yet, despite her best efforts, Eleanor couldn't shake the feeling that time was slipping away, that the precious bond she shared with Liam was slowly unraveling. She cherished every moment with him, every purr, every cuddle, every shared glance, knowing that each one could be their last. One evening, as Eleanor sat by the fireplace, Liam curled up beside her. She found herself gazing into the flames, her thoughts drifting back to the day she had first encountered him, a lonely stray seeking shelter from the storm. He had come into her life when she needed him most, filling the void left by loss and grief, reminding her of the beauty and resilience of life. Now, as she watched him sleep, his breathing shallow and his fur tinged with gray, she felt a wave of sadness wash over her. She knew that the time would come when he would no longer be by her side, that the inevitable cycle of life and death would take him from her. The thought was unbearable, a sharp pang of grief that pierced her heart. She clung to him, burying her face in his fur, inhaling his familiar scent, memorizing the feel of his soft body against hers. Liam, stirred by her embrace, nuzzled his head against her hand, his purrs a soft reassurance. Eleanor, her tears flowing freely, whispered words of love and gratitude, her voice choked with emotion. "You're my best friend, Liam," she murmured, her voice barely audible. "I don't know what I'd do without you." Liam, as if understanding her words, purred louder, his warmth and affection a comforting balm to her sadness. He was her anchor, her lifeline, her constant companion through the storms of life. The next day, Eleanor woke to find Liam unusually quiet. He lay curled up on his favorite blanket, his breathing labored, his eyes clouded with pain. Eleanor's heart sank. She knew that the time she had dreaded had arrived. She rushed him to the veterinary clinic, her mind racing with fear and despair. Dr. Carter examined Liam, her face grave. She explained that his kidneys were failing, his body shutting down. There was nothing more she could do. Eleanor, her world crumbling around her, made the agonizing decision to let Liam go. She held him close as Dr. Carter administered the final injection, her tears falling onto his soft fur. Liam's breathing slowed, his purrs fading into silence. His body went limp in her arms, his amber eyes losing their sparkle. Eleanor, her heart shattered, clung to him, her sobs echoing through the quiet room. Dr. Carter, her eyes filled with compassion, gently took Liam from Eleanor's arms. She wrapped him in a soft blanket and placed him in a basket, his body still warm, his fur still soft. Eleanor, numb with grief, thanked Dr. Carter and stumbled out of the clinic, her vision blurred by tears. She drove home in a daze, the empty passenger seat a stark reminder of her loss. As she entered the house, the silence was deafening. The familiar sounds of Liam's purrs, his playful meows, his gentle footsteps, were gone, replaced by an emptiness that echoed through her soul. Eleanor wandered through the house, her eyes tracing the familiar paths they had walked together, her hands reaching out to touch the places where he had slept, played, and cuddled. Each object, Each corner held a memory, a testament to their shared life, a reminder of the love they had shared. She curled up on the couch, Liam's favorite blanket clutched to her chest, his scent a faint whisper on the fabric. She closed her eyes, her mind flooded with images of him, his playful antics, his gentle purrs, his unwavering love. Grief washed over her, a tidal wave of sadness that threatened to drown her. She sobbed uncontrollably, her body racked with pain, her heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. Liam, her loyal companion, her furry soulmate, was gone. The void he left was immense, a gaping hole in her life that could never be filled. She felt lost, alone, adrift in a sea of sorrow. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. The sharp edges of grief gradually softened, the raw pain dulling into a persistent ache. Eleanor, though still deeply saddened by Liam's loss, found herself slowly emerging from the depths of despair. The house, once filled with the echoes of Liam's presence, felt eerily quiet. Eleanor, accustomed to the comforting weight of him on her lap, the gentle rhythm of his purrs, the playful nudges of his head, found herself startled by the silence. She went through the motions of her daily routine, her actions mechanical, her mind adrift. She tended to her garden, the vibrant colors of the flowers a stark contrast to the emptiness within her. She volunteered at the animal shelter, the playful antics of the cats a bittersweet reminder of Liam's absence. The therapy visits were the hardest. Eleanor, facing the expectant faces of the patients, their smiles faltering at the absence of their furry friend, felt a pang of guilt. She explained Liam's passing, her voice trembling, her eyes welling with tears. The patients, though saddened by the news, offered words of comfort and understanding. They shared their own stories of loss, their own experiences of grief, their own appreciation for the healing power of animal companionship. Eleanor, touched by their empathy, found solace in their shared sorrow. She realized that grief was a universal experience, a bond that connected all living beings. And she understood that Liam's legacy lived on, not just in her heart, but in the hearts of all those he had touched. One day, while visiting the children's hospital, Eleanor encountered a young girl named Sophie, who was recovering from a serious illness. Sophie, her face pale and her body frail, lay listlessly in her bed, her eyes devoid of sparkle. Eleanor, her heart aching for the child, sat beside her, offering words of encouragement and comfort. Sophie, her voice weak, expressed her sadness at missing her own pet cat, a ginger tabby named Sunny. Eleanor, remembering Liam's impact on Ethan, felt a surge of inspiration. She shared stories of Liam's therapy work, his ability to bring joy and comfort to those in need. Sophie, her eyes widening with interest, listened intently. "I wish I had a cat like Liam," Sophie whispered, her voice filled with longing. Eleanor, touched by the girl's wish, felt a familiar stirring in her heart. She realized that Liam's legacy could live on, not just in memories, but in action. She could honor his memory by continuing his work, by bringing the healing power of animal companionship to others. The next day, Eleanor visited the animal shelter, her heart filled with a renewed sense of purpose. She browsed the cat enclosures, her eyes searching for a special feline, one who possessed Liam's gentle spirit and affectionate nature. Her gaze fell upon a sleek black cat with emerald green eyes, curled up in a corner, seemingly oblivious to the commotion around him. He exuded an aura of calm confidence, his movements graceful, his gaze steady. Eleanor, drawn to his quiet demeanor, approached his enclosure. The cat, sensing her presence, rose to his feet and stretched languidly, his muscles rippling beneath his glossy fur. He met her gaze with an intensity that sent a shiver down her spine. "Hello there," Eleanor whispered, her voice soft and soothing. The cat, as if in response, let out a soft meow, a sound that was both gentle and assertive. Eleanor, her heart pounding with anticipation, reached out to pet him. He leaned into her touch, his fur surprisingly soft, his purrs a deep rumble. Eleanor, captivated by his presence, inquired about his history. The shelter staff informed her that he was a stray, found wandering the streets, his past a mystery. He had been at the shelter for several weeks, his quiet nature making him less appealing to potential adopters. Eleanor, feeling a connection to this enigmatic feline, decided to take him home. She named him Shadow, a fitting name for his sleek black fur and mysterious aura. Shadow, unlike Liam, was not an immediate cuddle bug. He was independent, observing his new surroundings with a quiet curiosity. He would follow Eleanor around the house, his movements graceful, his presence a silent shadow. He would sit by the window, gazing out at the world, his green eyes reflecting the changing light. He would curl up on the arm of the chair, his body a sleek black silhouette against the upholstery. Eleanor, respecting his reserved nature, gave him space to adjust. She provided him with comfortable beds, enticing toys, and delicious treats. She spoke to him softly, her voice a gentle reassurance. Gradually, Shadow began to warm up to her. He would rub against her legs, his purrs a low rumble. He would accept her strokes, his body relaxing under her touch. He would even curl up on her lap, his weight a comforting presence. Eleanor, sensing his growing trust, felt a surge of hope. Perhaps Shadow, with his quiet strength and gentle spirit, could be the one to carry on Liam's legacy, to bring comfort and healing to those in need. Shadow, despite his initial reserve, proved to be a quick study. He took to the therapy training with a quiet focus, his natural calmness a valuable asset. He learned to navigate crowded spaces with ease, to remain unfazed by loud noises and sudden movements. He seemed to possess an innate understanding of human emotions, sensing those who were in need of comfort and offering a gentle presence. Eleanor, observing his progress, felt a sense of wonder. Shadow was different from Liam, his approach more subtle, his energy more contained. Yet, he possessed a unique healing power, a quiet strength that resonated with those he encountered. Their first therapy visit together was to a nursing home. Eleanor, her nerves on edge, watched as Shadow interacted with the residents. He moved among them with a quiet grace, accepting their gentle strokes and offering soft purrs in return. One elderly woman, her face etched with the lines of time and loss, sat hunched in her wheelchair, her eyes downcast. Shadow, sensing her sadness, approached her cautiously. He jumped onto her lap, his weight a comforting presence. He nuzzled his head against her hand, his purrs a gentle vibration. The woman, startled at first, slowly reached out to stroke his fur. A smile spread across her face, her eyes lighting up with a spark of joy. "He reminds me of my cat," she whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. "I miss her so much." Eleanor, her heart aching for the woman, offered words of comfort. She shared stories of Liam, his impact on others, his ability to bring joy and solace. The woman, listening intently, seemed to find solace in Eleanor's words and Shadow's presence. As they continued their visits, Eleanor witnessed Shadow's unique ability to connect with people. He seemed to possess an intuitive understanding of their needs, offering a calming presence, a gentle distraction, or a playful nudge. He would sit patiently with those who were withdrawn, his quiet presence a comforting anchor. He would engage in playful antics with those who were restless, his energy a welcome distraction. He would offer a warm purr and a soft headbutt to those who were grieving, his affection a balm to their sadness. Eleanor, watching Shadow work his magic, realized that healing came in many forms. Liam, with his exuberant personality and playful nature, had brought joy and laughter to those he encountered. Shadow, with his quiet strength and gentle spirit, offered a different kind of healing, a calming presence that soothed troubled souls. One day, they visited a young man named Michael, who was recovering from a traumatic brain injury. Michael, once a vibrant and athletic individual, was now confined to a wheelchair, his speech impaired, his movements limited. Shadow, sensing Michael's frustration and sadness, approached him cautiously. He jumped onto his lap and curled up, his weight a reassuring presence. He purred softly, his vibrations a gentle massage against Michael's chest. Michael, his eyes widening with surprise, slowly reached out to pet Shadow. A smile flickered across his face, a glimmer of hope in his eyes. Eleanor, encouraged by this connection, began to incorporate Shadow into Michael's therapy sessions. She would guide Michael's hand to stroke Shadow's fur, encouraging him to vocalize his appreciation. She would use Shadow's presence to motivate Michael to perform simple exercises, rewarding him with gentle purrs and affectionate nudges. Gradually, Michael began to respond. His movements became more purposeful, his speech clearer, his spirits brighter. Shadow, his constant companion, seemed to provide him with a sense of purpose, a reason to keep fighting. Eleanor, witnessing Michael's progress, felt a surge of gratitude for Shadow. He had brought hope and healing to a young man who had lost so much. He had reminded her that even in the darkest of times, there was always light to be found. As they continued their work, Eleanor and Shadow became a beacon of hope in their community. They touched the lives of countless individuals, bringing comfort, joy, and healing to those who needed it most. Eleanor, reflecting on their journey, realized that Liam's legacy lived on, not just in her heart, but in the hearts of all those he had touched. And she knew that Shadow, with his unique healing power, would continue to spread love and compassion, carrying on the torch of hope and reminding everyone of the extraordinary bond between humans and animals. Eleanor and Shadow's reputation as a therapy team grew, their services increasingly sought after. They were invited to schools, libraries, and community centers, their presence a welcome addition to various programs and events. Eleanor, initially hesitant to step outside their familiar routine, found herself embracing these new opportunities, her confidence bolstered by Shadow's unwavering support. One afternoon, they were invited to a local high school to participate in a stress reduction program for students preparing for their final exams. Eleanor, remembering her own anxieties during her school years, felt a sense of empathy for these young people facing the pressures of academic achievement. As they entered the bustling library, filled with students hunched over books and laptops, Eleanor felt a familiar pang of apprehension. Shadow, sensing her unease, rubbed against her legs, his purrs a gentle reassurance. They were led to a quiet corner, where a group of students awaited their arrival. The students, initially hesitant, their faces etched with stress and fatigue, gradually relaxed as Shadow approached them, his presence a calming influence. He moved among them with a quiet grace, accepting their gentle strokes and offering soft purrs in return. Some students, drawn to his calming presence, confided their anxieties and fears, their voices hushed, their words laden with the weight of expectations. Eleanor, listening attentively, offered words of encouragement and support. She shared her own experiences, her own struggles with self-doubt and anxiety. She reminded them that they were not alone, that everyone faced challenges, that setbacks were opportunities for growth. Shadow, sensing the emotional undercurrents, moved from student to student, offering a warm purr, a gentle nudge, a soft headbutt. His presence seemed to ease their tensions, his affection a balm to their anxieties. One student, a young woman named Emily, sat apart from the group, her shoulders slumped, her eyes filled with tears. Eleanor, her heart aching for the girl, approached her cautiously. Emily, her voice trembling, explained that she was struggling with a difficult family situation, her parents going through a bitter divorce. She felt lost, alone, and overwhelmed by the uncertainty of her future. Eleanor, remembering her own experiences with loss and grief, offered words of comfort and understanding. She shared her own story, her journey through grief, her discovery of healing and hope through animal companionship. Shadow, sensing Emily's distress, jumped onto her lap and curled up, his weight a comforting presence. He purred softly, his vibrations a gentle massage against her chest. Emily, startled at first, slowly reached out to stroke his fur. A sob escaped her lips, her tears flowing freely. Shadow, as if understanding her sorrow, nuzzled his head against her hand, his purrs a soothing lullaby. Eleanor, her heart filled with compassion, held Emily's hand, offering silent support. She knew that sometimes words were not enough. Sometimes all that was needed was a listening ear, a comforting presence, a furry friend to share the burden of sorrow. As the session drew to a close, the students, their faces visibly relaxed, their spirits lifted, thanked Eleanor and Shadow for their visit. Emily, her eyes still red-rimmed but her smile genuine, lingered behind. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice filled with gratitude. "Shadow helped me more than you know." Eleanor, touched by the girl's words, felt a surge of fulfillment. She realized that Shadow, with his quiet strength and gentle spirit, had touched Emily's heart in a way that words alone could not. He had offered her a safe haven, a moment of respite from the storms of life. As they left the library, Eleanor reflected on the unexpected connections they had made, the bonds they had forged. She realized that their work as a therapy team extended beyond the confines of hospitals and nursing homes. They were bringing comfort and healing to people of all ages, in all walks of life. And she knew that Liam, her beloved companion, would be proud of the legacy he had inspired, the ripple effect of his love and compassion continuing to spread through Shadow's gentle touch. The years passed, marked by the changing seasons, the ebb and flow of life in Eleanor's quiet neighborhood. Shadow, now a seasoned therapy cat, continued his work with a quiet dedication, his presence a source of comfort and healing to countless individuals. Eleanor, her heart filled with gratitude for his unwavering companionship, cherished every moment they shared, every purr, every cuddle, every shared glance. She had found a rhythm to her life, a balance between her volunteer work at the animal shelter, her therapy visits with Shadow, and the quiet solitude of her home. She tended to her garden, the vibrant colors of the flowers a testament to the resilience of life. She read books, the stories transporting her to different worlds, different times. She spent evenings by the fireplace, the crackling flames a comforting warmth against the encroaching chill of age. One crisp autumn afternoon, as Eleanor and Shadow were returning from a therapy visit to the children's hospital, they encountered a familiar figure walking towards them. It was Ethan, the young boy who had battled leukemia years ago, now a healthy teenager, his face beaming with a smile. "Mrs. Winters, Shadow!" he exclaimed, his voice filled with excitement. "It's so good to see you." Eleanor, her heart swelling with joy, embraced him warmly. Shadow, recognizing his old friend, rubbed against Ethan's legs, his purrs a rumble of greeting. Ethan, kneeling down, wrapped his arms around Shadow, burying his face in his soft fur. "I've missed you, buddy," he whispered. Eleanor, watching their reunion, felt a surge of gratitude. She had witnessed the power of healing, the transformative power of love and compassion. And she knew that Liam, her beloved companion, had played a vital role in Ethan's recovery, his legacy living on through Shadow's gentle touch. Ethan, catching her gaze, smiled. "Thank you for everything, Mrs. Winters," he said, his voice filled with sincerity. "You and Shadow made a big difference in my life." Eleanor, her eyes glistening with tears, shook her head. "It was our pleasure, Ethan," she replied. "You were the one who showed us the true meaning of courage and resilience." As Ethan continued on his way, Eleanor and Shadow walked in comfortable silence, the fallen leaves crunching beneath their feet. Eleanor, reflecting on their encounter, realized that life had a way of coming full circle, of bringing unexpected connections, of weaving a tapestry of experiences that shaped and defined their journey. She looked at Shadow, his green eyes sparkling with contentment, his purrs a gentle melody. He had become her anchor, her confidant, her furry soulmate. He had filled the void left by Liam's passing, bringing his own unique brand of healing and comfort to her life and the lives of countless others. As they reached her doorstep, Eleanor paused, taking in the familiar sight of her cozy home, the garden bathed in the golden light of the setting sun. She felt a sense of peace, a contentment that transcended the inevitable challenges of life. She had found her purpose, her calling, her way of making a difference in the world. And she knew that as long as she had Shadow by her side, she would never be truly alone. They entered the house, the warmth of the fireplace welcoming them. Shadow, with a contented sigh, curled up on his favorite rug, his eyes closing in peaceful slumber. Eleanor, settling into her armchair, reached out to stroke his soft fur, her heart filled with gratitude. She had come a long way from the lonely widow grieving the loss of her husband and child. She had opened her heart to a stray cat, and in doing so, she had opened herself to a world of love, compassion, and healing. She had found her purpose in caring for others, both human and animal. She had found her joy in the simple pleasures of life, the companionship of a furry friend, the beauty of nature, the kindness of strangers. And she knew that as long as she continued to embrace life with an open heart, the legacy of love and compassion would continue to ripple outwards, touching the lives of others, creating a world where kindness prevailed, and where the bond between humans and animals was celebrated and cherished.